In the Builders category of the Field Hockey Canada Hall of Fame, Field Hockey Canada is proud to induct Eric Broom, a man who leaves a legacy as a coach's coach.
I would love nothing more than to express my gratitude on behalf of everybody associated with Field Hockey BC, all of the countless coaches, athletes, officials, volunteers that have benefited from working with you.
Eric was instrumental in certifying and teaching field hockey coaching and served as one of the first national coaches, alongside being the coaching director for Field Hockey BC and Field Hockey Canada.
What he's done with the certification, the coaching of coaches, etc., I think there's not many who have done what he's done. And saying that, there are wonderful coaches, it's just that he's the coach of the coaches.
Broom grew up in Peterborough, England, and played a variety of sports growing up, but was introduced to field hockey in grammar school.
School had played rugby only in the winter until then, and then they introduced field hockey. So I played for the school for 2 years, and there was no coaching. We were just, you said, this is the stick, it's like soccer and so on. But I picked it up very quickly and really enjoyed the game.
Broom played field hockey for a year before being enlisted in the Army. After 2 years, he went on to graduate from Loughborough University, where he came across a life-changing opportunity from one of his rugby teammates in Peterborough shortly after.
A man called Ray Williams, who, when I left Loughborough and I was teaching, and I had a letter from him, and he'd gone to work for the Central Council of Physical Recreation, and he wrote to me and said he was organising the first ever training course for coaches in rugby at one of the national sports centres, and would I be his assistant coach? And so I accepted, and that was my introduction to sort of top coach education.
Inspired by that, Broom worked for that same organization for 5 years, but found he needed more credentials to excel further, which led him to coming to Canada.
In 5-10 years' time, when I was applying for one of the top jobs in something like Sport England, there would be people with degrees, and I said, I've got to get a degree. And then suddenly, out of the blue, through a friend, came this offer of a job in UBC, where one of the things I asked, hey, can I take a degree while I'm teaching there? They said, yes, you can. That was a big factor. Made me come to Canada.
As word began to spread of Eric's arrival, fellow Field Hockey Canada Hall of Famer Harry Warren took note of Eric's exceptional experience and convinced Broom to arrive in Montreal first and drive across the country to set up coaching clinics for Canadian field hockey coaches. He traveled from Montreal to Vancouver and organized 14 coaching clinics across the country. As he got settled in Vancouver, Broom quickly became more involved and was simultaneously appointed coach of the BC provincial team and Canadian national team.
Eric will do whatever it takes to get the job done. And if that's in a supporting context or whether that's himself actually driving, it doesn't matter. He is totally committed to the cause.
Broom continued to contribute to Canadian field hockey as he went on to graduate school abroad, but his most notable contribution was as a founding father of the National Coaching Certification Program in 1974, which still serves as a benchmark for the Coaching Association of Canada.
I would love nothing more than to sit in an auditorium one day, have Eric as the prize guest, and look at the generations of individuals and coaches that Eric over time has actually influenced.
Broom's contributions for being a coach's coach have impacted more than 10,000 people, and he continued to give back as a coaching director for Field Hockey BC and Field Hockey Canada into the 2000s.
It's one thing being a national coach, which you're working with a relatively small group of people. But if you can make better the coaching that 100, 1,000 young kids can get by developing 200 coaches, hey, that's a good deal.
Eric Broom's legacy stands as one that helped many coaches and athletes find their way.
For me, the legendary legacy that Eric leaves is that imprint on all of those individuals that he has helped in some way to shape. In that opportunity for Eric to impart his knowledge and experience, those individuals are better people, better sports persons, and have themselves gone on and affected others. And I think if there was going to be a legacy, that just gives a very small insight into the impact that this particular individual has had.